picked the right time to do it, and we definitely found our stride early. So fortunately, it looks like, I'm not going to have to come back later and go, it didn't work out.
Yeah. Hey, this is Peter Pappas with Denovo Realty, and this is the Florida Real Estate Life podcast. And today I've got a special podcast and a special guest. I'm here with Nate Jomaa from Shorepoint Mortgage.
Hey, thanks for having me, Peter.
Thanks for being here, Nate. So I wanted to have a special show just dedicated to you for a few reasons. One, you've been a great partner to me over the years. You're a great guy, and most importantly, you just started your own company.
Yes.
So I want to hear more about Shorepoint Mortgage.
Sure.
Why did you start your own company?
Yeah, so when I got into the mortgage industry in 2002, I worked in a company that had a call center on site, and that's actually where I started, was in the call center there. And I wanted to desperately get the leads that we were calling and getting. So I did as much as I could to show them the initiative that I wanted to get the leads. And so I got trained in the lending, and I'm kind of giving you the origin story leading up to it. So I know it sounds like I'm like long walks on the beach. But
No, it's good. I never knew that part about it. Well, I knew you worked there, but I didn't realize the other stuff.
So I worked there for 2-3 years, really got to learn a lot about the business, all the different loan types. And then in 2004, I started my own branch of a existing mortgage brokerage company that's called Access eMortgage. And when I opened my branch was the Shorepoint Financial branch.
Okay.
So that was the company that I started essentially in 2004.
You came up with that name then?
I came up with the name then,
So
Shorepoint Financial.
You like the name?
Yeah, so I operated Shorepoint Financial with my partner Philip from 2004 till about mid-2008 when the financial crisis happened. And it just made sense for both of us to leave things be, exit the industry, and try to just pick up some of the pieces.
Sure.
So it's always been a dream of mine to go back to Shorepoint Financial.
Okay.
So when I got back into the mortgage industry a couple years ago, I needed to really get my feet under me and figure out what I was doing before I jumped back out again. Because what I didn't want to happen was that I was too quick and I rushed it, and then it was an epic failure, right? So when I started to look long range and said, what do I want to do? I started building out Shorepoint Mortgage. And it didn't become what it is now until earlier this year, but I had been planning Shorepoint Mortgage, if you will, for the better part of the last probably 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I just never knew when the time was going to be right. I wanted to figure out a lot, and I didn't want to fall flat on my face.
Yeah.
So I felt like midpoint last year is when I really got a little bit more serious about it.
Okay.
And I didn't talk a lot about it because I didn't want to hype up something that wasn't going to happen. But then over the Christmas holiday, I thought, you know what, now's the time. Like, I'm going to make this happen in the next 60 days. And then it was early in February when I actually all right, we're doing this.
Right, yeah. So. I remember I was out with you one day, and you handed me the card, and you're like, this is going to be the new business next week. And I'm like, what?
Right, yeah, I know. Like, nobody knew anything about it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's going well so far. I know for sure. I know you had a great month. Your first full month was last month. Yeah. And you were one of the top guys.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a great month last month. It's off to a great start. March was great. April is going to be even better. The way things are looking, May could be even better than that. So I definitely picked the right time to do it, and we definitely found our stride early. So fortunately, it looks like I'm not going to have to come back later and go, it didn't work out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, everybody, here we are, April 2024, and everybody the past week or so we've been talking to in the industry is saying we feels a little different right now. Yeah. It's starting to get busy. It's starting to heat up. People that have been dormant for a long time are starting to look, which is good because I think there's a lot more opportunity right now for a lot of them.
Definitely. I've seen a huge pickup in just the number of pre-approvals that I'm doing lately, and then those pre-approved buyers for the last, I don't know, call it 18 months, I would pre-approve somebody, and then they would look, and then there wasn't really a trigger being pulled. Now I'm starting to see these pre-approvals are becoming contracts very quickly.
Yeah, sometimes within a week.
Yeah,
for sure. Or even the same weekend, which is how it used to be.
Yeah,
I need a pre-approval. We're going on the contract this weekend.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's good to see.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of good inventory out there. I haven't been working with a ton of buyers this year, but the ones that I have, there's been a lot of great homes to look for.
Oh, yeah.
So with that, with competitive rates from your company, we just got mutual clients. They're going to be closing tomorrow on a home, and they got a great rate. They're super excited, and a great home in Viera. Yeah. I think there's a lot of potential for a lot of people to own a great home right now.
For sure.
Yeah. Especially if they use Shorepoint Mortgage.
Yeah, for sure. So being a broker, we have, it sounds so cliche, but we literally have hundreds of different lenders to go to.
Yeah.
So when I'm looking for somebody's mortgage structure, it's not just setting up the loan. It's looking at who's going to be able to provide us the best rate options. So if somebody wants to get a particular rate, I can go and look and see who's offering that rate at no cost, low cost, even sometimes with a credit back.
Right.
So, I mean, it really is like a whole world of rates that we can go and look and say, this person wanted this specific thing set up this way. Who's got it? And then we get it. So
yeah, sometimes you're offering lender credits on top of whatever a realtor might negotiate as far as seller credits go.
Exactly.
So some buyers are going to really benefit from that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I will say this, your rates are not only super competitive, but they're probably beating everybody else's right now. So that's a great thing. So I think you're going to have a very busy spring and summer. We'll just see how the rest of the economy goes. I think that's what we're really, depending on. If everything seems to settle down, if inflation comes down, it should be a great year for real estate.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I think we're going to see over the course of probably the next 45 days as we get into the beginning of summer thinking that there's going to be a huge improvement in what rates look like now. And when I say huge, I don't want anybody to get excited to think 2s, 3s, 4s. But right now, a well-qualified buyer putting down 15, 20% can get into the 6s comfortably.
Yeah.
I believe that they can probably get low 6s, high 5s maybe around that time frame, which when you look back to where they were in the mid 7s, like that's a much better rate.
Yeah. That's what I'm waiting for personally. I bought a home a few years ago, and I actually ended up using owner financing. The person that owned the home just held the note, and I'm at 6%. But I definitely, the minute I can get anything lower than that, I'm going to refinance and be able to not have that anymore.
Caveat is I don't know what the APRs are on those, so I can't quote APR, which I'm supposed to do. So don't take that as Bible.
Of course, yeah. And it's all fluid. I mean, it
exactly.
just changes sometimes daily. Sometimes in the same day.
Yes.
Yeah,
literally. Morning is one rate, afternoon's a totally different rate.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of people just have a hard time wrapping their head around that, but everything is very fluid in this business. So that's why I always tell people when we work together, and I say, if you're working with Nate and he tells you to lock in that rate, do it, because through his experience and his knowledge, he's telling you that this is in the next 3 weeks, this is the best rate you're going to get.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of different factors that influence rates, and a lot of people I don't think know that. Consumers don't know that. A lot of real estate agents don't know the full ins and outs. Even some mortgage people, unfortunately, don't know the full ins and outs.
Right.
There's a lot of things that influence rate. It's not just one or two things.
Sure.
So just knowing what those things are and keeping them top of mind. And I have a monitor that constantly has markets going on, so I can see if we're about to just fall off the edge. Like I start calling everybody and saying, "Hey, now it is right now.
Yeah,
we're locking today. Here it is." So,
yeah, that's important. I will say the other thing that I always liked about you personally is you're a no nonsense guy.
Right.
You tell it like it is. I feel like in both our fields, there's a lot of spiel. People will say anything. Yeah. To get a deal, and it's just not what you're going to get from you or even me. We'll tell it like it is, good or bad, and if we end up not getting the client by being honest, then that's so be it.
Yeah. And that's actually worked to my advantage in the past, where I felt like, okay, I was honest and I blew it, but then guess what? They realized that whoever they were talking to was being disingenuous, and they came right back.
Yeah, a lot of and by no means am I saying this is all lenders, but there are some that will quote a rate that's just not attainable, just to get the business, and then on closing day, the client's wondering what the heck just happened.
Yeah, exactly. And it happens in real estate. It happens in mortgage. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But my policy is always to be straightforward, be honest, and to operate with integrity, because at the end of the day, if I don't get this loan and you went with somebody else because they promised you something and didn't come through on it, you're going to know I was completely honest,
Sure.
even to the point where I knew that it was going to push you to somebody else because I was being honest and I wasn't willing to sacrifice or cut corners because I wanted to do the best job I could for you.
Right.
And they're going to come back to me for their next referral. Or if they have somebody they want to refer to me, they're going to think of Nate.
Right.
They're going to think of whoever that other person was.
That's the foundation of our business is,
Exactly.
is treating a client well so you can get that referral.
Exactly.
What do you want to tell us about Shorepoint or anything else about your business that we might not know? Is there anything did we just cover everything or?
We covered a lot of it, but
Yeah.
I think a lot of consumers and just the layperson may not understand the difference between working with a mortgage broker and a direct mortgage lender.
Okay.
So when you're working with a direct mortgage lender, they have their programs, their rates, their guidelines, their structure. Everything is in a box, if you will. So that's going to be your banks and that's going to be your lenders that loan their own money. Working with a broker, we have access to, like I said earlier, hundreds of different lenders. So if one particular place is getting a little weird with an underwriting guideline or anything like that, we have the autonomy to be able to take the loan package that we're working on and just submit that to a new lender, a new investor, if you will. And we've lost maybe hours, not an entire loan package, right? If I go to lender A and something falls apart in underwriting, maybe there was a document that I wasn't supposed to submit that I submitted and it kills the deal.
Right.
If I'm working with a direct lender, that might be the end of the story and I've got to start from scratch with somebody else. But with us, we're able to quickly recover, go to a different place that we're affiliated with, and just hours are lost in that case. So that's the real advantage of working with a direct mortgage broker versus a direct mortgage lender.
Okay. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always feel like I know the difference, but I just listen to you and whatever you tell me.
Thanks.
So that covers like Shorepoint for the most part. What are your thoughts on the real estate market long term? Like not just this year, but the next 5 years.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of changes to the way that we both do our business over the next couple of years.
Well, we already know there's going to be a change with realtors come July. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what the outcome of that's going to be in practice. Like I know on paper what it says, but we don't know what it's going to look like. So that's going to also impact mortgage lending as well, because there's going to be certain things that we're currently doing or certain structures, policies that are written through the government agencies that they're going to maybe have to revisit.
They will definitely have to, especially with the VA loans.
Exactly.
As far as that goes. There's a lot of misinformation about the whole law that just got passed, or the whole settlement with NAR and the lawsuits and all this stuff. I don't even want to get into the nitty gritty of it, but there will just be some more paperwork. But I know the good agents and the good lenders are gonna adjust, and
For sure.
And that'll be that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like we all have to be nimble to be able to adapt and overcome quickly, because we don't want to put any of our customers, our clients, and those people that are depending on us to help them buy homes, sell homes, whatever, in an awkward position because of something that's out of our control that we're forced to operate under.
Yeah.
And we've been through this before in the mortgage business so many times, and in real estate, it's a constantly changing plan. So those of us that are good, that are nimble and forward thinking, are going to be just fine.
I owned a restaurant for many, many years in New Jersey, and that business felt like it was changing every 6 months.
Right.
With different rules from the IRS or different rules from the town or different rules from from who knows what, the state of New Jersey. It just was a constant sea of change, and never once did we give it any thought. Just, okay, this is what we have to do now, we'll do it.
Right.
That's
exactly.
I mean, nothing. You're still going to do what you have to do to get the job done.
Exactly. And that is the difference between the ones that are going to make it long term and the ones that are just trying to collect a check right now. As soon as the going gets tough, they're going to be gone.
Yeah, I mean, we're already seeing that now, big time. I mean, there's people that are upset because they have to work much harder to sell a home now. And they're just not used to it. They got their license in 2020 or 21, and they've never worked in a normal market. And I'd rather not get into the ins and outs of it. But I am gonna be having a listing where the previous listing agent just never did an open house, just didn't care, you know, and the house sat for months.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah, gone are the days of just throwing a sign in the yard and it sells itself, right? You
Yeah.
have to actually do work now.
Right. No, you have to work, and they just, some of them are not wrapping their head around that. Yeah. We won't miss them.
Right. I was going to say not a bad thing necessarily.
Yeah. No, it's bad for the business, so it's bad for everybody's reputation
course.
when you have people out there like that.
Exactly.
How would you say your rates? Like, the big thing with clients is rates. That's the first thing.
Sure.
When I get a new buyer, the first thing what are the rates?
Right.
You know, that's all they care about.
Sure.
You know, and I know there's so much more to it. There's a lot of nuance on your side of that answer, but how would you say your rates are comparing to other people's right now?
I'm finding that when I'm quoting somebody a rate after we've actually gone in and structured, I'm not somebody that's going to take a phone call and just say, what's your rate, and give a rate. Because like I said, there's way too many moving pieces.
Yeah.
And it's a disservice to you if I say your rate's this.
Right.
And then after I get all of the information, I come back and say, ooh, what? It's actually going to be this now.
Right.
That's a disservice to you because you had in your mind the rate is this. And now
Right.
I've come back and I've changed it on you.
Sure.
And I've inadvertently bait and switched you. And I don't want to do that.
Right.
So I'm finding that when I do the full pre-approval and I walk through all of the steps, that my rates are extremely competitive compared to others. I'm finding that if I'm not the first person they talk to, my rate, my options, my structure is superior to whoever they did talk to.
Okay.
In many cases. So it's been great to see that, and the ability to be able to do that with Shorepoint and have the ability to truly customize everything has just been great.
Yeah. Well, there's so many different factors that could impact the rate too.
Yeah,
You know,
there are.
credit score being a big one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Credit score, debt to income ratio,
Sure.
type of product that we're going into, type of structure that it is. Condos are going to be graded differently than townhomes, that are going to be graded differently than single family detached residences, that are going to be graded differently than manufactured homes.
Right.
So many things that people don't take into consideration. And that's why I think these lenders that put rates online are doing everybody a disservice, because you have to read the fine print to see what they base that on.
Right.
I'm not going to say the name, but there's one that takes off like that. They always put rates online, but when you start reading the fine print, it's going to be somebody that has perfect credit, that's putting 25% down, that's buying a brand new home with low this, low that. I mean, like,
it's the perfect loan.
Yeah, and those exist, absolutely.
Sure.
That rate exists for that person, but it doesn't exist for most people.
Right.
And so they are doing a disservice to somebody that goes there and says, this is my rate, and then they come and talk with us. I have to show them, well, no, that's not your rate. Well, it's on their website. Right, let's look at the fine print together. I'll show you that there's a very specific person that this fits, and it's not you.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
So besides the numbers and the lending aspect of your job, you are a very good partner to a lot of realtors and title companies, and you're out there doing open houses and other events for them. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so one of the things that we have to do in our business, and again, it's not just numbers, is be very relational. I drive everything I do with relationships, and I try to put the transactional piece at a minimum, because we are involved in a transaction. There's contracts, there's certain things that have to happen, there's compliance with our companies and our federal regulations and real estate, and so we can't just throw all of those to the wind. But at the same time, if everything is just very transactional, then it's not fun for anybody, right? It's enough to sell a house and buy a house, and there's enough stress and worry and what ifs. Like, I try to take those things and mitigate them as best I can, but then to also make sure they understand that, hey, I live in this town with you, and my kids went to the same school your kids went to, kind of thing. And like, this has to be a relationship.
Sure.
And so part of that is having the same relationship with the partners that I work with, because we're going to work together again and again. I'm going to see the same folks at the title agency again and again throughout different transactions we're involved in, and different real estate agents are going to be involved in transactions with me again and again. And the insurance company I'm going to see again and again, and the inspector I'm going to see again and again. So I want to have a good relationship with them as well, so that we can cut through the transactional piece.
Right.
And then when you do have relationships with people that you work with again and again, you really get to know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and it makes the entire process for the buyer or the seller that much more seamless as well, because you know what to expect from the partner that you're working with.
Yeah.
And so part of our job is to be in the community doing these things and partnering with our title companies and our real estate agents and supporting them as best we can, because I feel like that just deepens the relationships.
Yeah. That's a great answer.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I know it came from the heart. You know? I know you work hard.
There's no script.
Yeah. No, you're showing up on weekends, sometimes to 5-6 different open houses. Yeah. I mean, you'll plant your flag at one sometimes. You know, we've done that together where we'll do one for 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. But if you don't have anything scheduled, I know you'll try and make your rounds.
Yeah.
And try and see as many homes as possible.
Exactly.
Which is a good thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I want to try to give back to the agents that I work with, because I don't just work Monday through Friday. And I know they don't just work Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to be a team member with you and I expect you to be a team member with me, then we have to be there to support one another.
Yeah.
And one way that I can do that on the weekend is going to your open house and just checking in with it. Can I bring you water? Can I help you with something?
Yeah.
You know, in preparation for that, can I help you make a flyer? I'm going to share your listing. Like, what can I do to support you?
Right. So I always like to say I am a realtor that's always available. One of the things I love about you is you're a lender that's always available. And that can be the difference between getting a deal done and losing a deal sometimes.
Yeah.
It's important. Like I know just recently on the one we're closing tomorrow, you're available on the weekends, and they were trying to talk to somebody on a Saturday and that person was not around. I said, oh, I know Nate's around.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I have to be able to work the same hours that you're working to be able to support you. That goes back to the best way for us to work together and to make it a relation. It's very easy for me to say that you or anybody, hey, it's Friday night, it's 10 o'clock, like, I'm busy. Like,
right.
Like, let's talk later. But, it's important to the buyer at that point maybe to get an answer to a question, to understand their pre-approval.
Right.
Like, we have to be able to work on their timetable.
Yeah.
Right. We work for them. So if that's what they need to feel confident to make an offer or to accept an offer or whatever the case might be, we have to be there for them.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm not going to take a call at 2 or 3 in the morning.
No. Well, that's when you first wake up usually anyhow.
For sure.
Yeah.
So take that back. I will take a call at 2 or 3 in the morning, but most people aren't calling then.
I like to make fun of Nate because I always say he gets up at 2 or 3 in the morning to start working on pre-approvals. It's probably not quite that early.
It's 4 or 5.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's funny. Okay, I think we've talked a lot about mortgages and your new company. What I think the listeners really want to know, though, is a fun fact about Nate Jomaa.
Oh, there's so many.
Well, I think just one will do.
Okay. Well, I'll share 2. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first fun fact about Nate Jomaa, a lot of people don't know this because I'm such a clean-cut, professional gentleman, but I used to be in a punk band. I used to, have crazy hair and piercings and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
And you played guitar?
Guitar and vocals.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's surprising. A lot of people don't know that I used to have metal in my face and, crazy hairstyles. And
interesting.
Yeah.
I can totally see it, though, now.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I still listen to punk all the time. It's good stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I go to punk shows. I throw down. The other fun thing, and you know this, and you give me a hard time about it, and others do as well, I can't stand condiments. Can't stand them.
Yeah.
Hate it with a passion. Would rather have a dry sandwich than even think about putting something creamy or whatever on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been at wing places before, and they'll bring you blue cheese, and I've seen the look of horror on your face.
I have a little mini episode. Yeah.
And no ketchup on French fries?
No, sir.
Really?
Barbecue sauce is okay.
Why is barbecue sauce okay?
I think I don't know.
Okay.
Barbecue sauce and hot sauce are the 2 exceptions I make for most foods.
Yeah.
If it's Asian cuisine, I'll, teriyaki, soy, things like that.
Hot sauce isn't super, thick either. It's more like water, hot water.
Hot water.
Right?
It's spicy hot water. Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah. I mean, the other stuff has got, big texture to it and it's thick. And,
Yeah, so no ketchup, no mustard, no mayonnaise, no cream cheese, no sour cream.
So I just did a podcast a few episodes ago with Megan Ross from Denovo, and she's a big no mayonnaise fan. So we gotta get the two of you together.
Yeah, no, I can't do it.
Yeah,
and it's interesting because I know mayonnaise is essentially just eggs and water, and I love eggs and oil rather, not water. I love olive oil. I can't take what happens between the two when you make them, when you mix them, and you whip them. I'm done.
Right.
At that point, I'm no longer associating with the oil or the egg. I'm done.
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah.
I mean, it is gross to me too.
Okay.
But I do like egg salad or chicken salad or tuna salad. So for those things, I'll make the exception.
No, I won't.
Yeah. But I won't put it on a sandwich. I'll put mustard or anything else.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah. No, I like all the other condiments. Just, mayonnaise can be a little tricky. I have a weird relationship with mayonnaise.
Hamburger, I'll either have it with nothing on it at all.
Cheese?
No, cheese, vegetables. Yeah, I love lettuce, tomato, pickle, onion. All those things are great. But I'll have it either dry, like no sauce, or barbecue sauce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to do the mustard ketchup 50-50 combo.
That sounds terrible.
That's awesome. Yeah.
No.
Okay, so we got some fun facts from Nate. I'm excited that we were able to do this and sit down together, and I think hopefully the viewers will have gotten to know you a little bit better. And if you're looking for a mortgage or so you have any lending questions, Nate Jomaa from Shorepoint Mortgage, he's your guy.
I am. I'm your guy.
Yeah. All right.
Awesome.
Cool.